Yeah, it's kind of interesting where in Oregon we never actually passed a consumption rule where there's no public consumption still. And I'm starting to see like new states popping off, like New York and Las Vegas actually just passed public consumption. New York saying they're going to go right to public consumption in dispensaries. And I'm starting to wonder, because you brought up the point earlier just about how the laws had been written, they're complicated, and they're kind of starting, I don't know, I'm starting to feel like the laws in Oregon are starting to feel outdated. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm starting to feel like there's a cannabis brain drain going on, where I keep hearing really skilled cannabis people wanting to leave and go to these new states where there's better opportunities.
Less regulation.
Less regulation is really the big one. In Oklahoma, unlimited canopy, $50. You can sell seeds online in most states. It's really time for us to start catching up on the West Coast, because we still have the infrastructure, we still have the people, but if we don't start maybe getting a little bit more liberal and revamping some of these laws and starting to become pioneers again, we're going to get left behind and we're going to lose the smartest people in the industry.
Absolutely. So true. I mean, to be the first is something, but then you're also the oldest and the dinosaur. And we're, you look at Washington, you look at Colorado, the true first states, and there are huge parts of those regulations that I do feel are obsolete. And I was just out in Oklahoma a couple weeks ago. It has the vibrancy of the original medical scenes in California and Oregon, where it was like going on and not being super enforced, but enforced a little bit. But they were busting 1 in 100 people even on their best day. So there was vibrancy and there was enthusiasm and there was hope. People saw a future for themselves. And as a cultivator for 25 years, I look at the hurdles in California and I'm like, I would like to do this, but do I really want to deal with all these headaches that I'm seeing my friends pull out their hair? They're not cultivating, they're pulling out their hair in front of a computer and paperwork. Like, we need to work better to readjust these laws, to be more modern, to recognize the current state of cannabis, because it is different than when these laws were written.
It's true. And one of the things I've been really excited about that hasn't manifested yet, but it's been on our radar, is the multi-state commerce piece. About 3 years, we started talking about a partnership between Washington, Nevada, California, and Oregon, because we're all legal and we're all interconnected. We don't even have to really cross another state where there's risk. But there's fundamental challenges with that too. Like, look at how is the money going to flow? Right now in Oregon we have there's banks that will bank with us, but are they multi-branch? Are they multi-state?
No.
How is that going to and then are we now hauling $100,000 back between Las Vegas and here? It just doesn't make sense. And I'm kind of surprised that we really haven't jumped on crypto as much in our industry. I mean, in a lot of ways, we're really the perfect industry for it. We're pushed out by the banks. Everything needs to be tracked, right? Where the money flow in the way the blockchain works in crypto is that you can see every transaction that has happened with that wallet or with that coin or
for its entire life.
It's very similar to metric. And I think that the other thing the issue I have as a distributor a lot of times is I have to get people to front me stuff. I have to say, hey, give me your product. I'll pay you in 30 days. I mean, how does that make the producer feel? Like there's real risk for them involved with that. What if I'm some shady actor? So I thought that like with these tokens that are out there now and their ability to do lending, their ability to do escrow, they have the tokenization that's starting to get built into them to where, I mean, the bottom line is that the money doesn't really leave cannabis as much as you think it does. There's a little that goes to taxes and rent and power and things, but it really just goes around in a big circle. So why aren't the distributors working with creating a platform that we can kind of keep our own money, keep control of our own money? I think it'd be really a valuable thing for us to do. So I've just been kind of looking into what those possibilities are and whether we can take something kind of off the shelf. I haven't found it yet, but maybe we could take something that's pretty close to that, modify it slightly, and create kind of a legitimate cannabis coin that's not going to end up being like a pump and dump, because it would really set us up for success when we start going interstate.
I think that's brilliant.
I know my mind just exploded in your kitchen. I mean, I've been learning so much about crypto and still barely know anything about crypto, to the point where I can't invest because I just tangibly can't see what I'm buying. I'm still like dealing with that issue. But everything you just said makes so much damn sense. It's crazy.
And imagine like if we could actually start being treated like regular farmers then, where we could kind of get a little bit of insurance when we had crop failure. I mean, that's kind of how ag is run in America, is you have, you know, they're like the CME is the big one, but they're exchanges where you put money in and you short like, you know, corn or whatever it is. But if the corn falls, you know, you get paid whether you're successful or you fail to some degree. And I think we could really use that, because there's just been too many times where we've seen cannabis companies go bust after one season because of a bad harvest or a theft or any number of pitfalls that can happen. And there's no way to really insure ourselves. Like, I just had my dispensary burned down. We lost all the product. We lost all the cash. You know, it's huge loss. And the insurance company just battled us the whole time, you know, and I kind of feel like at the end, we finally got paid a little bit, nothing like compared to what we lost, because the guy just felt so bad that they were berating us for not having a fire alarm when the whole town burned down. Like, what would a fire alarm have done? It was just a loophole they had.
Wow. It was just a way to try and protect themselves from having to pay out a legitimate claim.
Yeah. And so how legit are these insurance companies really? Like, what's their accountability? Are they just selling us snake oil, and then when we go to collect, are we really going to get anything?
Yeah, and with all of the money that cannabis as an industry is paying in taxes, like so extreme, the disparity between traditional ag and what cannabis is doing, and look at the subsidy dollars that are going from the government into all of these other agricultural products. They are subsidizing and protecting every other significant agricultural product. Where all of a sudden the largest cash crop in the country and soon to be the world is, you know, these walls continue to crumble around us, and there is no consideration for that disparity. Like, the government needs to get on board and start looking at how to make this a legitimate national agricultural product and start to push these borders out of the way so that they can take a piece too. Because the federal government should have some piece, but they need to regulate how the states are taxing it and bring it into line. So like, yeah, no, you guys are taxing way too hard. We need to bring this down, and part of that's coming to Uncle Sam. Mm-hmm. And let's create a level platform so we can sell West Coast herb across the country. And I'll be honest, Oklahoma weed was fantastic when I was there. I was super duper impressed. I would love to be able to go in and be like, oh, my dispensary here in California, I'd love to try what's happening in Oklahoma with this farm, or what's coming on in Nevada over here. Michigan has amazing cannabis too. I would love that opportunity as a consumer. So
yeah, that cherry bomb you just took out of the package yesterday just blew me away. I was really impressed.
That's Papa Jesus Farms out of Oklahoma, and they're doing just great work. They've got good genetics. They're passionate. And really, again, it comes back to that intent. They're wanting to bring the best to the world, and it shows.